And then we move on to 2011. Captain America, the First Avenger.
Yes.
It's not easy to go from being seen as one superhero as the jockish Human Torch to the noble and courageous man out of time in Captain America. And yet, Chris Evans did it flawlessly. Along with a good supporting cast in Haley Atwell, Sebastian Stan, Tommy Lee Jones, and seemingly every Hollywood antagonist under the sun in Hugo Weaving as the Red Skull. This also marked the last MCU prequel to the Avengers, as we were given the teaser trailer at the end to what we could expect the year after. The first Avenger does a great job in reinventing one of the most classic comic book heroes for a new age, while staying true to his origin. Anyone have a movie for 2011?
I do.
Go ahead.
This one was actually the Oscar winner for 2011, and that was The Artist. It was a modernized yet sort of retro throwback to the old school days of silent filmmaking that follows a particular silent film actor who later finds a girlfriend, and as Hollywood transitions into the sound era, the actor himself is finding difficulty, much like many actors at the time, trying to transition over into sound films. Meanwhile, his girlfriend, who was previously wasn't an actor, is suddenly becoming the next big thing in Hollywood, leading to him having somewhat of an existential crisis in terms of how he can possibly move forward with his career. And I've always been a sucker for those kind of movies. Another movie I'm a huge fan of is Singing in the Rain, another movie that deals with the similar topic, this sort of like Hollywood style period piece. And yeah, I'm a sucker for movies that are about Hollywood, movies about Hollywood and Hollywood culture, and like sort of tributes to Hollywood history, such as this year, which brought us Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was also another similar like transitionary period in Hollywood during the 60s, with the end of the classic studio era of Hollywood and the birth of new Hollywood. And I just love the retro throwback style of this movie. I feel like they perfectly capture the look and feel of a modernized silent film while keeping everything had that classic Hollywood retro feel. And the few times that they do incorporate sound in the movie was really well done, especially during the dream sequence that the protagonist has, where he finds himself being unable to speak while everything else around him is producing sound. But yeah, it is a movie that isn't really talked about so often these days, but it's a movie that definitely stuck with me, and I do hope that people get the time to revisit this wonderful and charming film.
I think I have like a few films that came out in the 2012s or 2011, excuse me.
Yeah,
okay.
sure.
I think we have to point out that Rise of the Planet of the Apes came out that year.
Ooh, yes.
That's a good
film.
one. That's a good one.
The CG in that there was like breathtaking, and just I expected this movie to completely suck, especially hearing James Franco was in it, and I was not up for this movie. And then all of a sudden, I'm watching, I'm like, holy shit, this is actually good. And then we see the start of what happened to create the Planet of the Apes, a disease that not only made the apes sentient, but also basically killed humanity. So this is the start of that, and it started a really great trilogy in my mind. And also another one, X-Men First Class, came out in 2011.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the film. I think it's fine, but then it kind of crashed and burned later on, so that kind of makes me sad.
Hard to believe that's almost a decade old now.
No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank you for being real patient, folks. There's been one or two hiccups with just getting the streaming keys set up through OBS. We've got that resolved now. we're at the end of year again. This year has been a mix of eras ending and some beginning anew. As well as highlighting this year's selection of the box office, we are also taking a look at our picks of movie highlights from the last 9 years before heading into this year's review. For the 9th consecutive year, Real Features presents the end of year review panel. Hello everyone, I'm MJ Knight, the voice of Nightwatch, the face of Real Features, one of the co-creators of Roll Down Rebound, because only Rikako will never let me forget it, and one of the co-hosts of SKL. Joining me for his third end-of-year appearance is the mindful and zenful Cyber Raiden.
What up?
Later this evening, returning for her third appearance, the snarky, cute Win the Rogue. Marking her third presidential appearance, the First Lady of Awesome, Lydia.
How's it going, guys? Let's ring out this decade with a bang.
And marking his 6th appearance, the distinguished sophistication of Kaiju Noir.
Hello, people of the internet.
Now, as everyone pretty much knows the score that we do for these things, there's pretty much a 10 movie plus shortlist, because there have been 1 or 2 movies that have been asked to be put to add to the list, and I have accommodated that. The movies that will be up for selection this year will be as follows. Undeniably, Avengers Endgame, Shazam, Alita Battle Angel, Bumblebee, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Batman vs. the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Spider-Man Far From Home, or as far as Random DCE is concerned, Spider-Man Far From Watchable. His words, go consult him about it. We'll do it in January after he comes out from his hibernation.
I remember my friend Andrew has another one. Well, he always calls it Spider-Man Far From Good.
Ouch.
Ooh.
Godzilla, King of the Monsters, Joker, and It, Chapter 2. But in order to honor the present, we must first honor the past. And my 2 selections to cover 2010 will be Let Me In and Toy Story 3. Toy Story 3. Had there not been a 4th entry into the series, this would have been the best way to send the toys off, and I think it had a heartwarming script and the cast turning out a great performance, with even the actor who played Andy in the original returning to say goodbye to the character. This movie pulled on the heartstrings of those that had grown up with the original and its sequel in 1999, and was likely to be just as emotional for them as it was for the characters. And as for Let Me In, haunting, beautifully written, well-chosen cast. This movie really encompasses the pain and loneliness of adolescence thrown in with some vampires. Chloe Moretz and Cody Smith-McPhee carry this movie on their backs and show their talent at such a young age. Worth a look if you're open to something different. Raiden, if I recall correctly, you actually had maybe 1 or 2 movies for 2010?
Oh, yes, I did. Mainly 3. 3 that kind of sort of changed my life about, just movies in general, how much I feel for them.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, okay. Here's how I start. First movie I thought I could always go back and watch was 2011's Attack the Block, featuring John Boyega, which a lot of people.
Oh wow! I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, for anyone who didn't know, not just from Friend from the new Star Wars series. Yeah, the way he started out was pretty cool, and the plot itself is about a gang of rowdy teens in South London, and let's see if I get this term right, MJ, chavs.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Started routine, robbing a woman, and then out of the blue, a freaking meteor comes out. And then what happened? An alien. Yeah, crazy. So Moses, as the character John Boyega was playing, killed it, and him and squad used it as a trophy. Unbeknownst to them, they're like familiar meteors, but different looking aliens. So it's up to them to basically protect their turf in a sense. And you think gangsters, being rowdy teens faced off aliens, you thought the plot was kind of blah. But I don't know I don't know. The director, I don't know what it is. He made the story relatable, even though the teens themselves are kind of assholey. They're kind of lovable in a sense, and you kind of feel for them going through their journey. So I felt like with that movie, it was very well shot. Music was pretty good, and on a good time. So now you see John Boyega killed in a lot of roles like Detroit, Star Wars franchise nowadays, and yeah. Also, was in Pacific Rim Up Yours, but but yeah, all in all, pretty good movie. So now my second movie, it changed how I felt about martial arts movies, and that is The Raid Redemption. A director by the name of Gareth Evans saw how much foreign cinema changed overall. So put up a couple of actors, got a script together, and all you gotta say is check the movie out and just feel the pulse pounding, bone crunching martial arts action you'll see. Not to mention that a pretty concise story. It's about a rookie SWAT cop by the name of Rama, following orders with SWAT members, going in a building that's in the bad part of Jakarta, which is in Indonesia, run by a ruthless gang boss named Tama. That's his two right hand, Andy, and one of my personal characters, Mad Dog. So, like I said, the story's pretty concise, but I feel like with the action, you'll definitely see how grounded this film was, and how much of an impact it had against martial arts action movies. Which, in a sense, in this decade is kind of a dying breed. But luckily for this movie and its more bloodier sequel, The Raid 2, it definitely helped out Indonesia action films on the map. Well, before that, there was another film called Marantau. But still, I always love going back to The Raid Redemption.
Up to 2012, Avengers.
I kind of have one. I already talked about the 2011 stuff already, but I have one last one.
Okay.
A personal favorite of mine, aside from the three I've talked about in 2011, was Drag Hammer 2012. One film that I thought was pretty good, even though it was a mixed martial arts movie, Warrior. It had Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, and for wrestling fans, it also had Kurt Angle.
Oh.
Yeah, it was about two brothers who grew up doing differently. One's an army vet, one's a teacher, and they fight in a tournament for different reasons. And it's like, I don't know. Some films can be like that, but I felt like the connection between the two brothers, especially with the alien father who's a recovering alcoholic, pretty good. I have to say the action itself pretty brutal, but it definitely told the story. So Warrior was a good one for me.
All right, thanks for that.
No problem.